This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
Welcome in now at 7, a live look outside at the cloudy Indy skyline. More rain is on the way tonight. I'm here in the tracking center with Storm Team 6 Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory. We did have a rainy day today after some sunshine and warmer temperatures yesterday.
And I was just looking at that shot thinking, okay, this weekend we changed the clock an hour forward, so all the looks are going to change here.
A little brighter then.
You got it. To the south, we've got rain returning, and I do think we'll have an isolated thunderstorm or two with the threat of some severe weather along and south of the Ohio River. I'll show that to you in 1 second. The widespread rain has moved out for a while. We basically have drizzle now. You can see nothing happening within the state lines. We've had one thunderstorm kind of hold together, produce several thunderstorm warnings. That's going through Paducah now. Nothing north of that has had much in the way of strength, but a tornado watch does include Evansville and areas of extreme southwest Indiana until 1 o'clock in the morning. Another sign that we're turning the corner into spring as you get some humidity, warmer temperatures, and stronger weather systems to deal with. Some drizzle for a while. Watch as this forecast model between 9 and 11 brings more rain back Terre Haute to Bloomington to just south of Indy. Then as we go through the overnight, maybe some rumbles of thunder as that line of showers and isolated thunderstorms moves through. We'll start to change the picture and the look as we get to tomorrow afternoon. I'll explain coming up.
RTV6 is going to work for people in Columbus who want answers. This is what a creek looks like more than a week after thousands of gallons of oil, contaminated water spilled from a manufacturing building. Concerned residents reached out for help, wondering when the spill will be cleaned up.
For over a week now, these white pipes, or booms as they're called, have been collecting oil that mixed with flood water that came spilling out of this manufacturing building. People who live nearby are concerned and wondering why it hasn't been cleaned up yet.
My daughter walks every day, her dogs, and crosses this creek and walks back in the back. We own 80 acres, and this goes straight through it.
The creek that runs behind Sheila Stevens' home now looks like this, with reddish-brown oil sitting on top of the water. The oil-mixed water came spilling out of NTN drive shaft Sunday evening when a fire water main broke. According to the Indiana Department of Environmental Management, coolants and cutting oils mixed with the water, then moved through floor drains to the outside. IDEM tells me cleanup contractors are using vacuum trucks to collect and properly dispose of the contaminated water. But Stevens says crews haven't reached her home yet.
We want the contamination cleaned up. We want our creek back.
Working for you in Columbus, Stephanie Wade, RTV6.
An item says there was some accumulation of a contaminated product in a lowland or floodplain area along the creek. Crews are still working on cleaning it up. They do not know how long it will take, but they ask residents to avoid the creek while crews continue their work. If you need help getting answers about something that could be dangerous to the environment or your neighborhood, reach out to us. Send an email to workingforyou@rtv6.com. And a federal judge has dismissed the civil suit filed by 4 women against Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill. The women accuse Hill of sexual harassment during a 2018 party and gender discrimination. The judge described Hill's alleged conduct as disgraceful and reprehensible, but said it does not meet the legal standard of a federal law violation. All claims were dismissed. A lawyer representing the women says they are weighing their next steps and feel confident their voices will be heard. The Indiana Supreme Court is expected to decide what, if any, punishment will face over the accusations against him. And more deadly cases of the novel coronavirus are being reported in the U.S. There are no confirmed cases here in Indiana, but 6 people have died in Washington state, and now dozens of schools there are closed as a precaution. Meanwhile, New York is launching its own testing for the virus. And ABC's Trevor Holt reports President Trump is urging drug makers to speed up the vaccine process.
Just as health officials had warned, novel coronavirus is continuing its spread inside the United States. Officials in Washington state announcing 4 new cases, including 2 fatalities, as several other states like Oregon, Illinois, and Florida announce more confirmed cases, and New Hampshire announces its first.
There is deep concern across our state. We all need to be calm, cool, and collected.
Efforts to contain the virus continue to ramp up. New York State now the first in the country to develop its own testing methods.
The federal government's now allowing us to test is a very big deal. and will have a dramatic effect on how quickly we can mobilize and respond.
In the midst of the fight to contain the spread, President Trump says he's asking drug makers to increase their focus on the development of a vaccine.
Well, we've asked them to accelerate whatever they're doing in terms of a vaccine. Absolutely.
Military researchers are also leading the testing in Maryland.
Our research labs, our military research labs, are working feverishly around the horn here to try to come up with a vaccine. So we'll see how that develops over the next couple of months.
Today, the stock market bouncing back after last week's record losses, which were driven by novel coronavirus concerns. But globally, massive attractions and gathering sites like the Louvre in Paris remain closed to the public. Last week, President Trump appointed Vice President Mike Pence to lead the response to the coronavirus. And this week, we know the VP is meeting with CEOs of airlines and cruise ship companies to discuss COVID-19 concerns. Trevor Ault, ABC News, New York.
Local doctors say right now the risk for the flu is much higher than the coronavirus, but they have similar symptoms. Both can lead to respiratory problems and fever. And both COVID-19 and the flu pose a greater risk to the elderly and those with other health conditions. But the flu is a greater risk to kids, and the symptoms include more body aches. Part of the danger of COVID-19 comes from the mystery surrounding it.
We just have a whole bunch of stuff we don't know about the virus. And while we don't know those things, there's a lot of question on how to best take care of our patients and make sure that we protect the people who are healthy from getting those infections. So until we have more information on the virus, it's going to be scary.
It also takes longer for the symptoms of COVID-19 to appear compared to the flu. Indiana has seen 69 flu deaths this season. Doctors recommend getting your flu shot and practicing safe hygiene to keep both viruses away. Meanwhile, Carmel Clay Schools says a teacher who recently traveled to Italy has volunteered for a 2-week self-quarantine. The district says it's out of an abundance of caution. The Smoky Row Elementary teacher has not been diagnosed with COVID-19. Carmel Clay Schools says they are taking extra steps to sanitize high-traffic portions of the district's schools. And something to consider if you're planning for spring break, most travel insurance does not cover epidemics. In the majority of cases, once a virus is known, it is no longer considered an unforeseen event, so there is no related coverage. Some insurance companies explicitly state epidemics and pandemics as excluded reasons for canceling a trip. There are ways to buy travel insurance that might cover cancellations due to the novel coronavirus. However, they are called cancel for any reason policies, but they can be pricey, costing up to 50% more. And a part of Indiana hit especially hard by the opioid epidemic received life-saving supplies today. A group called Overdose Lifeline and the Anthem Foundation donated more than 200 overdose reversal kits to first responders in Morgan County. Law enforcement agencies there had run out of funding to buy their own kits. The groups also held a training event for first responders on how to administer naloxone, also known as Narcan. Morgan County ranks in the top 20 counties with Indiana's highest rates of overdose deaths. Another candidate has dropped out of the race for the Democratic nomination for president and thrown her support behind former Vice President Joe Biden. Tonight, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar is joining Biden at a rally in Dallas. Former South Bend Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who also dropped out last night, is expected to endorse Biden at tonight's rally as well. Biden so far has received the most total votes during the primaries, but Senator Bernie Sanders is leading in total delegates.
We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow on Super Tuesday. Our campaign is the strongest campaign to defeat Trump. There is a massive effort trying to stop Bernie Sanders.
15 states and a U.S. territory hold primaries tomorrow, known as Super Tuesday. More than a third of all delegates are up for grabs. And 416 of those delegates will come from California. This is the first year that California is holding its primary on Super Tuesday, and some election watchers are concerned because they are also using new voting machines. The electronic display on the machines only shows 4 candidates at a time. A voter would have to advance to another page to see the rest. You can follow along with the Super Tuesday results right here on RTV6. ABC News coverage begins at 8, followed by RTV6 News at 11. Still ahead on the news at 7, the little changes you can start making now to make the transition easier when we spring forward next weekend. Plus, the mistake to avoid that's sending thousands of kids to the emergency room each year. Why you should think twice before removing child-proof packaging.
Investigates Wednesday night at 6.
Welcome back. Every day, more than 300 Americans under the age of 19 wind up in the emergency room because of being poisoned. That's according to the Centers for Disease Control. Many times, these cases involve a child who ingested medicine without a parent or guardian knowing it. A new study aimed to figure out why that's happening so often. Mary Gaither explains the results in today's Health Minute.
The Poison Prevention Packaging Act, passed in 1970, required a number of household items like cleaning chemicals, flammable liquids, and prescriptions to have child-resistant packaging. Accidental medication poisonings in young children fell significantly back then. But a new study in the Journal of Pediatrics says in the last 20 years, the use of medications has gone up, and so have unintended medication exposures in young children. Researchers analyzed nearly 4,500 calls to 5 U.S. poison centers over an 8-month period in 2017. They found more than half of the prescription medicine exposures in children happened because the medication had been previously removed from original packaging. Most of the time, parents and grandparents took pills out to remember to take them or to make it easier to travel, the study shows. The authors say efforts to reduce child medication poisonings should encourage adults to keep medication in child-resistant packaging and out of reach of children. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And the CDC says other ways to prevent accidental poisonings in children is to lock up medicines and dispose of prescriptions that are expired or no longer needed. Coming up, thousands of doctors are being trained on another way to take care of their patients. Why a program is focusing on recognizing the signs of postpartum depression.
Well, the signs of spring on this map. Temperatures as you get to the south of the Ohio River, warmer than average with a little humidity. Storm threat there. We'll have the temperature trend for the entire week, for the entire month when I come back.
You want the way you want at TomWood.com.
This is RTV6 News at 7, working for you.
1 in every 5 women who get pregnant will experience a form of depression, either while expecting or after they give birth. It often goes undetected. But one program is teaching medical providers how to spot the symptoms of postpartum depression and how to guide those moms toward help. Maya Rodriguez has this story.
Jennifer Ford and her daughters Addison and McKinley look the picture of a happy family.
We're very close.
But it wasn't always that way, especially when Jennifer gave birth to her younger daughter, McKinley.
I was just in a zone, I guess. And then when I had her, I had a C-section. It was totally unplanned.
So was what happened next. Jennifer experienced a deep depression.
I did a lot of crying. It was very difficult to carry on a conversation with somebody because all I would do was cry. And I couldn't do normal functions. Like I couldn't cook dinner. I couldn't clean my house. It was difficult to even shower.
Help came from an unexpected place, her OBGYN, through a program called the Massachusetts Child Psychiatry Access Program, known as MCPAP for Moms.
Every time a woman is seen by an obstetric provider, it's an opportunity to detect depression, discuss it, and engage women in treatment.
So far, the program trained thousands of OBGYNs across the country to screen expectant moms for depression, creating a network of providers who see pregnant women all the time and can help take action when depression presents itself. Among the symptoms, feelings of hopelessness, trouble eating and sleeping, struggling to do day-to-day activities, and difficulty bonding with their baby.
My role as an OBGYN is to say it is the most common complication of pregnancy.
Tiffany Moore-Simus helps train other OBGYNs through the program.
If we can identify them and identify them early, they are treatable, and a woman does not need to suffer with this.
For Jennifer Ford,
but McKinley is very attached to me.
It made all the difference for her and her family.
I think I will always go to therapy. always. I think it's important to normalize therapy. I really do.
A mental health challenge she hopes others can overcome too. In Shrewsbury, Massachusetts, I'm Maya Rodriguez reporting.
And they were there for that.
And this weekend is the return of daylight saving time. We'll move the clocks ahead 1 hour Sunday morning, which means it'll feel like losing an hour of sleep. You can start making some adjustments now to make the transition a little less painful. Sleep experts say start going to bed 15 minutes earlier this week. This can be especially helpful for young kids and the elderly who might need longer to adjust to the time change. Also, try to get natural light as soon as possible when you wake up. I'm looking forward to getting some extra sunshine during the day, though, Kevin.
Sunshine's a beautiful thing. We saw it on Saturday. We had it for a little bit on Sunday.
Sunday, too.
Sunday's high 62 degrees. That was the big story. If you like spring warmth, it's on the way, even though it's not technically spring yet. You got the idea. Average high right now, 46 degrees. By the end of the month, the average high, 58. Just to show you how warm it was yesterday, we hit 62, so we kind of blew that out of the water. Overnight lows will make their move as well. All indications are we're more likely to have thunderstorms than any accumulating snow from this point forward. Of course, as you know, it's still possible that we get some snow. I'll actually show you some snow closer to the Michigan state line for Wednesday morning here in a second. But our trend of above average rainfall or precipitation will continue, especially for the southern half of the state. One thunderstorm has made its way from southwest of Paducah through Paducah and now kind of pushing to the east, and that will move into Tennessee and Kentucky as it continues its march to the east. We'll see an expansion of rain and maybe an isolated thunderstorm in the Hoosier State. The southwest portion of the state included in a tornado watch until 1 a.m. This is an area that has some humidity, has warmer temperatures, and a better area more conducive to sustaining any thunderstorms that develop. That's not the case in central Indiana, so I'm not anticipating severe weather here. Temperatures from north to south. You see the cooler air already swinging in, so these thunderstorms are going to hug along the Ohio River where they have some warmer air to tap into. It's 49 in Indy, 51 in Bloomington. 11 o'clock tonight into southwest Indiana, some rain, isolated thunderstorms. Then this slides to the east through the overnight. I stop it at 1 o'clock. May hear some rumbles of thunder. Get a good downpour through Bedford, Seymour, Nashville, Columbus, and Greensburg. That by 7 a.m. will be off to the east, and we'll start working on getting some breaks in the cloud cover through the day tomorrow. Next 3 days, temperatures in the 50s. When we do cool off, Friday and Saturday, it's brief, and we'll be back with above average temperatures after that. Tomorrow by noon, 50 degrees with a mixture of clouds and sunshine. The story in the afternoon tomorrow will be the wind. The gusts will be well over 30 miles per hour. Away goes the cloud cover. The wind will start to pick up. It's fairly light first thing in the morning and then very strong late in the day tomorrow. 7-day planner. As I mentioned, northern Indiana, closer to the state line, may have a little snow in the morning hours. Wednesday, Peru, Marion, Hartford City may have a little rain-snow mix. Then we're dry Friday, 41 for the high, 47 Saturday, and then we spring forward with the clock as you go to bed Saturday night. Sunday and Monday, we're back in the 50s.
These March temperatures are very nice.
Enjoy.
Good way to ease into it. Well, we'll be right back after this break.
Honda of Fishers.
Finally tonight, city, state, and community leaders visited local classrooms today as part of a nationwide initiative to encourage literacy. Read Across America Day began in 1998 as a way to get students interested and excited about reading more books. Today, Mayor Joe Hogsett visited a class at Invent Learning Hub on the southeast side. Teachers are thankful for the extra push to get their students interested in learning.
Reading allows kids to not only learn more about the world and think outside of their own lives, but also gives their imaginations a chance to really develop and to really soar. I think when you read, you're able to learn things like empathy, you're able to learn things like kindness, respect, what it means to be a good person and a good friend.
And Governor Holcomb also participated in Read Across America today. Dozens of fourth graders from Looper Elementary School in Shelbyville stopped by his State House office. The governor read, "What do you do with an idea?" Read Across America Day initially began as a celebration of Dr. Seuss's birthday.
Love all the Dr. Seuss books, right? We all have memories.
We all have our favorites.
By memory. Have a good evening.
And we will see you right back here at 11. Thanks for joining us.